Imagine starting a war, winning the first battles, but slowly realizing you no longer control how it ends. Right now, that's exactly the situation facing Donald Trump. What began as a powerful, calculated strike against Iran has now turned into something far more dangerous. A war spreading across the Middle East, oil prices rising across the world, allies stepping back, and even America's closest partner not fully listening anymore. Because here's the truth, this war may no longer be under Trump's control. And today, we're breaking down everything. What started this conflict? Why things are spiraling? What's happening between the US and Israel? And the biggest question of all, is Trump actually losing control of this war? Let's rewind. The conflict began when the United States and Israel launched major strikes on Iran. The targets were strategic: nuclear facilities, military bases, and key leadership. At first, it looked like a decisive move, a show of strength, a message to the world. The strikes were powerful, the damage was real, and the message was clear. America was in control. For a moment, it felt like everything was going according to plan. But wars are not decided in the first attack. They are decided by what happens next. And that's where things started to change. Yes, the early phase looked like a success. Key installations were destroyed. Military capabilities were weakened, but Iran didn't collapse. Instead, something unexpected happened. The system adapted. Power shifted internally. Control tightened. And resistance became stronger. And suddenly, this wasn't a quick victory anymore. It was the beginning of a long, unpredictable conflict, because Iran understood something very important. It didn't need to defeat the United States directly. It just needed to make the war costly. Costly in money, costly in resources, costly in global stability. So instead of fighting head-on, it changed the strategy completely. Oil routes became targets. Economic pressure became a weapon. Regional influence started playing a bigger role. The battlefield expanded, not just militarily, but economically and politically. One of the most critical oil routes in the world became unstable, and the impact was immediate. Oil prices reacted. Markets felt the shock. Countries dependent on energy imports started worrying. The ripple effects were global. This is what experts call asymmetric warfare, not fighting strength with strength, but targeting weaknesses that hurt the most. And it works, because now, even if the United States wins on the battlefield, the consequences are spreading far beyond it. And here's where things become even more complicated, because war today is not just fought with weapons. It's fought with information, influence, and perception. Narratives start shaping reality. Media coverage affects public opinion, and public opinion affects political decisions. As images of destruction spread across the world, pressure begins to rise not just on governments, but on leaders themselves. Questions start being asked. How long will this continue? What is the real objective? And most importantly, what is the exit plan? Then things escalated further. The conflict didn't stay contained. Strikes expanded. Targets increased. Damage spread across multiple regions. More countries became indirectly involved. More tensions started building. And then came a critical moment. A major energy facility was attacked. This wasn't just another strike. This had global consequences. Energy markets reacted instantly. Supply concerns increased. Uncertainty grew stronger. Investors became cautious. Governments started preparing for worst-case scenarios. And ordinary people began to feel the impact through rising costs. And here's where things got complicated. This escalation wasn't fully aligned between allies. At the beginning, the United States and Israel were acting together, but now their approaches started to differ. One side wanted to control the situation, limit the damage, and avoid a larger war. The other side was ready to push further. More strikes, more pressure, more risk. This difference matters more than it seems, because when allies are not fully aligned, control becomes fragile, decisions become unpredictable, timing becomes uncertain, and consequences become harder to manage. Behind the scenes, negotiations become tense, conversations become complicated, trust starts getting tested. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. The war is no longer a simple strategy. It's a complex situation with multiple directions, multiple objectives, and multiple risks. And pressure is building from all sides. Economic pressure, as energy prices affect countries across the world. Diplomatic pressure, as allies hesitate and global support becomes uncertain. Domestic pressure, as questions rise about cost, strategy, and long-term impact. And the biggest issue, there is no clear endgame. What does victory actually look like? Is it weakening Iran's capabilities? Is it changing leadership? Is it stopping future threats? Or is it simply preventing a bigger war? Right now, There is no clear answer, and that uncertainty is dangerous because without a defined goal, every move creates new complications. Every escalation increases risk. Every decision carries consequences beyond the battlefield. Time also becomes a factor. The longer the conflict continues, the more unpredictable it becomes. Resources get stretched, patience wears thin, and unexpected events can change everything overnight. So, has Trump lost control of the war? Not completely, but control is no longer absolute. The situation is shifting. Allies are acting based on their own priorities. The opponent is adapting faster than expected. Global consequences are growing larger, and the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to manage. Because wars are not just about power. They are about control, timing, strategy, and direction. And when even one of those starts to slip, the entire situation becomes unstable. History has shown this again and again. Wars that start with confidence often become complicated over time. What looks like a clear victory in the beginning can slowly turn into a prolonged struggle. And that is the real risk here. This conflict is no longer just about two countries. It's about global stability, energy security, economic balance, and the future of international power dynamics. Every move now matters more than ever. Every decision can escalate or de-escalate the situation, and the world is watching closely because the outcome of this conflict will shape more than just one region. It could influence global politics for years to come. Starting a war can demonstrate strength, but controlling it, managing it, and ending it at the right time. That is where true leadership is tested. And right now, that is the biggest challenge ahead. The question is no longer just about winning. The real question is, who is actually in control anymore?